like shitting on people without them being able to do anything about it?
Yes.
Do you like to sit back in the shadows like a Chad and have the ability to pick your fights?
He's right.
How about being able to cloak and or stone form, vanish, and run away like a god if your stun lock on the enemy proves fruitless?
That's me.
If you said no, then I'm sorry, but you're just a pussy. Then I'm sorry, but this video is supposed to be about the best class in the game, and the fact that rogues can do this kinda makes them objectively the best. So it's a dog-eat-dog world out there, and you gotta do what you gotta do to win. If you share that mentality, then rogue is perfect for you. If not, but you still like the idea of stealth, then let's hope you can justify playing a druid. Anyways, rogues' control and utility make them useful in every situation. Their ability to lock someone down for 10 seconds at a time while simultaneously giving them all 12 inches of shaft definitely gives them an upper hand in any situation, whether it be world PvP, dueling, or arena. Many people might not know this, but unlike in the more current version of the game, Kidney Shot has its own school of diminishing returns, or DR, which means it doesn't share a DR with Cheap Shot, which means you can open up with a Cheap Shot and follow up with a full value, max duration, 5 combo point Kidney Shot, which if you do the math is 10 seconds of straight stun.
That's quite big. Impressive.
If you don't get a trinket there, you'll definitely get a trinket immediately after when you decide to blind out of Kidney. And if you don't get a trinket there, well, then you can just sap after blind to reset the DR on your stuns, and then do the same cheap into Kidney opener. Now, of course, this is just one of the many openers available for rogues to use, which I'll elaborate on later. Also, silences don't DR at all, which means you can open up with a Garrote and immediately after vanish into a Garrote again for a 6-second silence instead of the normal 3. And then if you're feeling really spicy, you can use preparation and vanish for a second time, and proceed to Garrote for the 3rd time. And if you really want to go balls deep, you can play Blood Elf for the extra 2 seconds of silence, making you a healer's worst nightmare, capping out at a juicy 11-second silence. So the control on Rogue is absolutely insane, making the potential for this class somewhere at or above the moon. And that's not all that Rogue has either. Let's go ahead and head on over to number 2 on the list. Previously, I told you all about the control potential of Rogue and touched up a little bit on the utility. Now though, it's time to go balls deep. Vanish makes for an excellent offensive or defensive cooldown. It can be a quick boost to your control or damage to secure a kill by granting access to Garrote, Cheap Shot, or Ambush, and it could also be a lifesaver, granting you an exit strategy in an otherwise scary situation. Unless you're fighting a druid with Cloak of Shadows on cooldown. Which brings me to the next ability.
We interrupt this regularly scheduled program to bring you this important message.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to change the music because I can't get it to loop right. So yeah, here's a new song. In TBC, Cloak of Shadows is just a 1-minute cooldown. It removes all harmful magical effects from your character and gives you a 90% chance to resist future harmful magical effects casted on you for the next 5 seconds. Keep in mind, you still have a 10% chance to be hit by those magical spells, and sometimes that 10% chance can feel a little bit bigger than 10%. Shadow Step is an excellent gap closer, and unlike Charge or Intercept from Warrior, it immediately teleports you behind the enemy target, and because it teleports you from behind, it gives you an ease of access to backstab or Garrote and ambush if you're in stealth. Most importantly though, it negates any chances of the enemy being able to block, dodge, or parry your attacks, since you're attacking them from behind, which is very important for landing things like a Kidney Shot on a target that is under the effects of abilities such as evasion. Deadly Throw is a ranged combo point finisher that does about 3/4 the damage of Eviscerate, applies a 50% slow to the target, and with the tier set, locks spellcasting for 3 seconds. It's arguably one of the most fun things about Rogue in PvP, and that's just a hardcore objective fact. Unique to the Rogue class, poisons offer flavor, utility, and damage. In PvP, there are 2 poisons that you'll find yourself using the most. Wound Poison, which gives healing reduction to the target stacking up to 5 times, and Crippling Poison, which slows the target by a considerable amount. The others that you'll find yourself using are Instant Poison, a poison that deals extra damage on your weapon swings, mind-numbing poison, which slows the target's casting speed by 60%, and in niche situations, deadly poison, a poison that deals damage over time, stacking up to 5 times. Deadly poison is mostly used in dungeons and raids, but it can also be good in certain PvP scenarios where there's not that many possibilities for it to break a blind or a gouge. Premeditation is a 2-minute cooldown that adds 2 combo points to your target and opens up the possibility for more variation in your openers. It can also be seen by rogues like Mir to instantly swap to a target and lock them down for up to 10 seconds with a cheap kidney combo in order to briefly take them out of the game while he gives the kill target all 12 inches of shaft. Be careful though, if you don't add to or use those combo points within 10 seconds of using this ability, then they disappear. Evasion lasts for 15 seconds and increases your chance to dodge melee attacks by 50% and ranged attacks by 25%. While this may seem like a slight step down from the live version, it's actually a lot stronger. Passive dodge is extremely high for agility classes, so the end result when using evasion is a lot higher than 50% dodge. And if you need extra dodge to be on the safe side, you can use Ghostly Strike. Also, the 25% dodge to range attacks is extremely useful versus hunters and even rogues when you're trying to dodge a blind. Blind is one of Rogue's strongest CC abilities. If you're fully spec'd into elusiveness and dirty tricks, then Blind will only be a 1 minute 30 second cooldown, while costing 15 energy and being at a 15-yard range. Blind is so powerful because it is an instant cast CC that requires little resources to use and takes the enemy out of the game long enough to cause them to leave combat. And because it causes them to leave combat, you can then opt in to vanish and sap out of the blind to secure a 20-second long CC chain from just 2 abilities. And finally, Preparation. You probably know what it does by now. Preparation is arguably Rogue's strongest ability and is like a Frost Mage's Cold Snap but for subtlety rogues. On an 8-minute cooldown, it resets the cooldown of Vanish, Evasion, Sprint, Premeditation, and Shadow Step. That means you can have 30 seconds of continuous evasion and sprint, which is insane, but more importantly, it gives you more flexibility in how you use those abilities, since you will effectively have a second charge of each. Undoubtedly, the utility that Rogue has is an extremely attractive quality and makes Rogue a great choice for PvP. What about the rotation though? Is it engaging? That matters more to some players than others, so don't worry, we're about to get to that right now. Speaking about the variation of possible rogue openers is like icing on the cake when giving reasons as to why you should play a rogue. If you want to give a display of how truly massive your brain is, then all you have to do is show off the many openers that you have acquired as part of your knowledge arsenal over the years. Some would say that deciding what opener to use can oftentimes be equated to deciding what opening to use in a game of chess. Would you prefer to play the Queen's Gambit? How about the King's Pawn opening? Maybe the Italian? Depending on the class that you're fighting and the situation you find yourself in, you'll find yourself making the decision based on those variables. And whatever those variables are, there's usually a best opener for every situation, but with some scenarios allowing you to choose from multiple. And of course, when learning a specific opener for a specific scenario, it's best to also learn why that opener is good and why you might choose it over others, rather than just learning it for the sake of learning it. Aside from opening out of stealth with Garrote, Cheap Shot, or Ambush, the rotation is based around building combo points with Hemo or Sinister Strike and spending those combo points on either Eviscerate, Expose Armor, Slice and Dice, or Rupture. The finisher you use depends on what class the target you're fighting is, and the situation that you find yourself in at the time. A beginner wouldn't know all these things from the jump, but that's the beauty of the class. There's always room to improve, no matter your skill level. I don't claim to know the best openers for each situation, so I'll leave a link in the description below to a website that will go into detail for each possible rogue opener far better than I can at the moment. So, in Classic, your poisons are applied to the weapons themselves, and not your actual character. This means that you can have multiple weapons in your bags equipped with different poisons that you could swap between while in combat at the cost of a global to make use of more than just 2 poisons in any given fight. For the most part, in Arena, you'll mainly be using wound poison on the main hand and crippling on the offhand, so that way you can have an on-demand slow when using Shiv. On your second offhand, you'll mainly be using wound poison so that way you can swap to it when your target is stunned or is already afflicted by crippling poison, so that you can stack your wound poisons at a much faster rate with Shiv now that your offhand will have a wound poison applied to it. Mind Numbing Poison is also a great poison to have on a third offhand to create extra pressure on the enemy by increasing the amount of time it requires to finish a cast, and also making it easier to stop them from casting at all. Poison management is an important thing to learn how to do optimally in PvP, and if you're interested in learning how to properly manage your poisons, I posted another link in the description to the same website. I'm not yet comfortable enough with my skill in the class to create a full-on guide on how to play Rogue, but once I am, rest assured it will be done. So, should you play Rogue? Rogue is definitely a solid choice for PvP, but there are other classes that are good choices as well, so you shouldn't make that the basis of your decision. The utility of Rogue. Does it interest you? Do you like the concept of stealth and the openers that it allows? Does the rotation seem interesting? I'm not gonna lie, to me, Rogue is so fucking boring in PvE, but I willingly made that sacrifice to play it in PvP, so consider all things when deciding what class you want to play. That being said, I think that's enough for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and to help make these videos better, comment below what your favorite or least favorite part of the video is, and if you have any thoughts or suggestions to make these videos any better, comment those too. Huge thanks to those who stuck around to the end, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that bell notification if you'd like to see more content like this. Alright, well, I think that's it for today. This has been